Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the stories that are hiding just behind the headlines.
So today, we're going to explore this really surprising link between Thailand's famous cherry blossoms and a threat that puts, well, everything at risk for the communities they support. It's a story about incredible beauty, sure, but it's also about some ingenious community building and a silent challenge that really affects us all. Okay, let's dive right in. And we're going to start with this spectacular site that draws thousands upon thousands of tourists every single year. So meet the star of our show, the Nang Pea Sua Skrang. It's also known as the wild Himalayan cherry, or Thai Sakura, and for good reason. These trees just carpet the mountains in this vibrant pink, and it's this beautiful signal that the cool season has arrived. It's just a breathtaking natural event. But here's the thing, this is so much more than just a pretty flower. For a lot of communities in northern Thailand, this annual bloom is a lifeline. It's become the foundation of this vibrant tourism industry that supports families, local businesses, really an entire way of life. To really understand the sheer impact of these trees, let's zoom in on one specific community that was completely transformed by them. Our story really centers on this village, Ban Rang Kla. It's nestled right inside a national park, and it went from being this quiet little agricultural settlement to a famous tourist destination. And it's all thanks to a truly visionary idea. Now, this is the really interesting part. The whole transformation, it actually started as a solution to a problem. You see, to resolve land disputes and get the local community involved in conservation, the park's leadership had this brilliant idea. What if they could reforest the area with a tree that wasn't just native, but was also incredibly beautiful? And this right here, this shows you the classic tourism life cycle, and it just perfectly maps out Ban Rang Kla's journey. It kicked off with exploration, the first visitors showing up, drawn in by the new blossoms. That quickly led to involvement, locals starting to offer food and places to stay. And before long, government and private investment followed, which pushed the village right into the development stage. That's where tourism became a core part of its identity and its economy. And the results? Oh, it was a stunning success. They created the largest single grove of these trees in the entire country. It's just a perfect example of how restoring the environment can also create a sustainable economy, turning a conservation project into this powerful engine for the whole community. Okay, so everything sounds perfect, right? A win-win. But now we have to talk about the hidden challenge, a problem that you just can't see in all those beautiful photos of the pink blossoms. To really get this threat, we need to talk about something called phenology. The easiest way to think about it is like it's nature's schedule. For an ecosystem to work properly, the flowers, the insects, the weather, it all has to be in sync. But when that timing gets disrupted, the entire system can be thrown into chaos. Yeah, and the research on this type of tree reveals a really clear and frankly worrying pattern. As temperatures rise, their entire life cycle gets messed up. So as you can see here, that means they start flowering earlier, the bloom periods get shorter, there's a bigger risk from late frosts, and, this is a huge one, you get a potential mismatch where the flowers pop open before the insects they need to pollinate them are even active. And the crucial point here is that this isn't some minor tweak happening in the distant future. No, research shows that flowering times for these kinds of trees have already advanced by about 10 days in just the last 50 years. Now, a 10-day shift might not sound like a lot, but believe me, it is enough to throw the entire local ecosystem and the tourism that relies on a predictable blooming season completely out of sync. So what does this scientific reality actually mean for the people of Ban Rang Kla? The people whose success is so deeply tied to this natural calendar. Well, it paints a pretty precarious picture. The very predictability that allowed them to build this thriving tourism industry is now under threat. An early bloom one year, a really short one the next. It just makes planning impossible, both for the community and for the tourists they're trying to welcome. You see, the potential impacts are direct and they are severe. If the blooms become unpredictable, tourists might just stop coming, and that would unravel the entire economic model that they so carefully built. It threatens the very conservation success story that started this whole thing. So we're left with this direct conflict. On one side, you have the incredible promise of a model where communities and nature can thrive together, and on the other, you've got the silent, creeping threat of a changing climate that could undermine the very natural foundation this whole promise was built on. And this brings us to the critical question, doesn't it? The story of Ban Rang Kla is such a powerful example of what's possible, but it's also a warning. As nature's calendar continues to shift, how do we innovate? How can we build resilience for both these incredible ecosystems and for the human communities that have learned to live in such beautiful harmony with them.